Faces Unmasked is a podcast of candid conversations that explore the intricate layers of our unique identities, worth, and value. I'm Lauren.
I'm Paige.
I'm Kim. Let's unmask.
I don't have lip stuff on. I'm just going to chew on them a little bit.
Yeah, bite your lip. My hair, I didn't do my hair today. It was just out of the shower, so that's why I did my makeup.
Oh my gosh, you guys want to know what I did yesterday? And it was like the most glorious thing, and it is so silly. I didn't feel like washing my hair. I didn't want to. It felt like too much work. Just real life, right?
Yeah.
And so I took Illy and we went to Great Clips and they do a wash and dry for $5.
Are you serious?
Serious. And
Just
so
a wash.
it is,
And
they
dry.
wash, they condition, they put a product in and they blow dry it for $5. No tax, $5. And so Illy and I went and got our hair washed yesterday. It was
amazing.
glorious.
That's probably why it looks so nice.
Well, no, I had to straighten it.
Oh,
If you
but
look
it
at,
still
if you
looks
look
so
at my
nice.
live from last night, you'll see what it looks like pre being done. But thank you. But it felt like not bougie. It felt like luxurious
Yeah,
almost because
yeah.
somebody else washing your hair. That's kind of nice.
And you're not like getting it done. You're just literally going to get it washed.
Right. But it was so nice. And
But
it's so freaking affordable.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't take that long out of your day.
Right.
So
And-
instead of being at home, taking a shower, doing all the things, you're already out, get your hair
Yeah.
washed, and then go back to doing what you were doing.
Right. Have you heard? Okay.
Like a pit stop. Pit stop wash.
Pit stop.
Right. I saw a thing on Instagram yesterday that was, you know how women have been saying like an everything shower? Do you know what that is?
Where you do everything?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shave, wash,
Yeah.
shampoo, all the
Right.
things.
And apparently guys are super confused about it
What? Oh,
because they don't know what an everything shower is.
a shower is a shower.
Whereas I thought, I can't believe somebody's actually been talking about it because this has
Yeah.
always been a thing for me. Like the not everything shower is when I
Right.
don't wash my hair or when I
Yeah.
don't shave my legs or I don't exfoliate or whatever
Yeah.
it is. The everything shower is like, I've really got to put some time aside
Yeah.
for this. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I think it's such a funny thing that there are things like that we all kind of experience. Well, maybe not all. I
Yeah.
think there are people who do all the things all the time and I just don't know how they do it.
maybe there
Well,
are.
maybe like me, who only takes a shower like twice a week, I'll do most everything every shower because I don't take a shower every day.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people who take a shower every day wouldn't do everything every day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Are we recording?
We're recording.
Okay, I wasn't sure, but I was like a mess over here, like dropping everything.
I'm like, I was thinking, like,
okay.
are we recording? Because
Like,
this is
I'll
like,
just ask
We are
right now.
we'll just start with this. This wasn't the plan, and then here we are. And that's fine. Paige is fine. Guess what? True faces.
I know, I
Unmasked.
loved it. I was like, just don't mind me dropping and knocking everything over. Oh, all right. So, no, but I think that's fun. That's a cool.
I think it's an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Mhm. You want to know another thing that happens in the shower that I think most girls deal with and most people don't talk about?
What?
The hair on the shower wall.
And in the drain.
Right. And so that it
Dude.
doesn't go to the drain. For me, I'm like, okay, washing my hair.
Okay,
yep, that goes
yeah.
there. That goes there.
Well, the thing
That
was,
goes
is like
there.
growing
And then
up.
at the end of the shower, like,
Dude, I was the worst. I'm the worst to share the shower with because I didn't know it was a thing until like recently. So that's why it's so funny because so my whole life, and I swear if my mom and sister are watching this, they'll probably testify. But like we always shared the same showers, and I don't ever remember like picking up my hair from the shower and like throwing it in the trash. I swear there was probably shower or hair all over their showers the entire time I grew up, and my mom always had to have cleaned it up after me. Because I'm like, I never threw any hair away and it didn't
hilarious.
become relevant to me. So that means I went through my whole life, college, like sharing, like that's what I was kind of a little, I noticed it more was when I was in college. I would actually pick it up then. But like when I started dating my boyfriend, he would be like, can you like pick your hair out of there? Or like he would do it. And I was like, oh my God, that should probably be my job. Like, isn't that crazy?
That's funny.
Yes.
Like, like,
no,
I'm the
this
worst.
is a
That's
thing.
funny.
This is a thing. And I have seen posts or products coming out to help with that. One is literally a sticky that goes on the shower wall. So you put your hair on it, and then at the end of the shower, you peel it off, and then you can wash it off. Or I don't know if it's like layers or something, and every time you take it off and like.
That's interesting. But
it's a place for it to go.
That's
either
funny.
way.
That's
I can't
what the
remember
wall's for.
Because it always just like gets all over and you're like,
I know.
do you guys ever just sit there under the shower like,
Yes!
please come off?
I know, that's the problem. That's why it's like
Please
this.
come off of me.
There's a whole motion. We could make a whole dance. You know,
Yeah,
people
you
do
have
the
to go through the whole
lawnmower.
process.
You're like this.
Yeah, everybody's on your leg and you're like trying to like point it so it comes off.
Yes. Oh my goodness. See, it's experiences like this where I'm like, I'm not as unique as I think I
Or
am.
I'm not as
That's so fun. Or as weird.
Yeah,
Or as,
I'm like-
okay, that's the better way to put it. I'm not as weird
Mhm.
as I think I am.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Mhm.
I think it also ties into the imposter syndrome we're going to talk about because it's like we all have these quirky, weird things we do. Not even weird things, but just these quirky things as humans we do. And then it's like we, instead of just like laughing about it like we are, we allow the enemy to get in our head. Because I even like sometimes I'll like rush to the shower and I'm like, why do I have so much hair falling out? Like, you know, this and this, instead of just like giggling like about it, you know, about putting my hair on the shower. Just things like that I feel like tie into that imposter syndrome too, you know?
I think so. I think because what happens is we don't talk about it
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know other people have the same experience and we don't know that this is a thing for everyone. We think it's just a weird thing for us. And then we disqualify ourselves from being like legit. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where there's a lot of imposter syndrome just in being a valuable human being comes through, and some of those little quirky things that we think we're so weird, we're the only ones who would do this, it's the most bizarre thing, and then newsflash, we all do it.
Yeah. It's like I guarantee now if I come up to you guys and I'm like, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Just like brings us closer together.
Right.
That's
Watch for us in
hilarious.
public with music because we'll be doing that dance.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing this one too.
I'm invested. This is hilarious.
Says we can add that to the list of dances, you know, how it's the
the shopping cart.
Going shopping cart, you know.
Yeah.
What is
Right.
that? Doing the lawnmower.
Uh-huh.
We have the lawnmower.
The sprinkler.
The sprinkler. And now we have the
hair off the
shower.
hands.
The shower.
girl
Or
shower.
like
It's a
on
girl
the
shower.
Onto the shower.
Yes.
Off the hands.
It might look strangely like the Thriller.
Yeah, maybe.
This might have been Michael Jackson's inspiration for that song. Like, it's been around that long. Right.
He was
like, it's
actually
the
him trying to get his hair off of his hands.
Thriller night. Right? We're not going to be able to put this on social media because I just sang that, darn it.
Oh, we can crop it.
Maybe. Okay. Just don't cancel us. Listen, we're just having fun. Okay.
Anyways.
Do we actually have to start over?
We don't have to start over. We just might not. Whatever. We might.
Did we even do
we'll
like
get
an
a
intro?
message.
Did we say hi?
We haven't. We have a recorded intro.
Okay, remember? I don't know what we're doing. We're just talking. And I'm like, this is all good stuff. Why are we not
We're
doing
recording.
anything?
Okay, this is our first recording after posting and like going live with some of our episodes.
Yeah.
And so legitimately this is a different process than we've done before.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still new.
It is.
It's still new. We're still learning.
And we haven't recorded for a while.
We
Yeah.
haven't.
We've done a lot of planning.
Guys, we're shy. We're getting back into the groove. And maybe that's just me.
That's funny.
Well, I know we for sure wanted to talk about imposter syndrome, so I kind of brought that in a little bit with that hair thing. Silly, but I mean so true, because it's like even just small things. Like, I don't know about the rest of y'all. You can share if you want in the comments, or you guys can share as much as you want, but I'm so mean to myself, and I like talk about it being mean to myself. And I know that's where a lot of the imposter syndrome comes in, because that's a lot of the imposter syndrome comes from me telling myself like, oh, you know, it's just stuff like in the shower, like, why are you losing so much? You know, I had washed my hair in a couple days, so now I'm losing extra hair. And it's like, I will be mean to myself about that if I don't intentionally rewire my thinking to just be like, oh my gosh, like there's so much hair, I need to throw this away after the shower or something. You know, just like little things like that. I feel like, so what do you guys have about that, like with the imposter syndrome? you know? Is there anything on top of that? Like, how do you guys treat yourselves?
Oh, not well.
How do you guys treat yourselves? Let us, think about this internally too, like anyone watching, because it's like, it's something I've put at the forefront of my mind because I had realized how mean I was to myself.
Oh, for sure. I think, well, I might get into a rant. So here we go.
Yeah!
I think sometimes society teaches us that we're not perfect. We'll never be perfect. We're not valuable. We'll never be valuable. There's a lot of like some of that stuff that happens even as a young kid. It's funny, in the other room, Illy, my daughter, she's 7, is sitting there, and I hope she doesn't actually hear some of this because I don't want to instill that in her.
Yeah.
Like, I think I have come to the place where I think that we all innately hold value.
Mm-hmm.
And I have also come to the place where I have to accept that if I believe that about others, I need to believe that about me too. And that's like the hardest part of it.
So I guess what I struggle with is like knowing I have value and knowing I'm important, but still struggling with like I'm not where I need to be yet. You know what I mean? Or I'm not where I feel like I'm at yet. And so then those negative imposter syndrome thoughts come through. Cause it's like, I know I have value and I know where I see myself being. And obviously no dream or no goal is put on your heart unless it is from the Lord. Like if you see it and you dream it and you've believed it for yourself at some point, that is literally a step in the path for your life that you should follow from the Lord. Why are you smiling?
I have things to say, but I want you to finish.
No. Go ahead. It made me, I was like, am I doing good or bad? I was like, good or bad smile. But anyways, with all that being said, guys, really though, like, just knowing that I have that value, but then still struggling with those negative thoughts, I guess. Like, that's where I'm at.
For sure. Well, and I think that's what is imposter syndrome defined as? It's essentially believing that you've kind of gotten to a place that you shouldn't actually be in. Like you're not qualified for, you shouldn't be allowed to be there. It's like you're playing the life of someone else when it's actually your life, and kind of believing that you're not worthy to be there. Right. And I think so many times that comes from not knowing the value that you carry. And sometimes it comes from other people having told you that you're not worth those kinds of things. So it's like getting a promotion at work and then managing people, and you feel like, but I should still be the one who's answering the phones, or you know what I mean? Like there are things like that. Like, how did I get here? I'm not qualified for this, those kinds of things. And I think it's an interesting concept because we build this construct in our lives that say, I'm worthy of this, I'm not worthy of that. I can do this, I can't do that. But then what if other people see your ability, see your capability, see your value, see your worth, and then put you in a position so that can shine, but you don't actually believe it? I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes in. And it's like, I'm not qualified for this.
Right.
But what if you are? And what if other people see it before you do? And I think that's why what I said earlier, like, I have the hardest time believing those things about myself. I easily see it in others, but do I see it in myself? I don't all the time. And I'm probably not infamous for this because nobody knows that I do it. I, in my own mind, am infamous for being in a situation where I feel really unconfident. Like I feel like I am out of my league. I am a fish out of water. I don't belong. Who am I to be here? And I've taken on this thing, and you guys, I know you've seen me do it because I've done it in your presence, where I will sit up straighter. I will put my shoulders back. I will make myself bigger. I'll put my chin up so that I look like I belong here, even if I don't believe it. But then it's an interesting thing doing that. It's like kind of expanding. It's taking up the space that you need to be taking up. But But doing that, then your body starts to believe it. And once your body starts to believe it, then your mind can kind of start to believe it. And then once your mind starts to believe it, like then your spirit can start to believe it, or maybe other order. I don't know. But I'm just saying this is like this is what I do to kind of overcome that. And it always happens to be because I'm naturally an introvert and large crowds don't make me the most comfortable. So like we're in Mary Kay, right? We go to these big events where it's a bunch of Mary Kay people coming together. It's a pink bubble and it is always positive. Like this is a positive situation, but I'm there judging me and going like, who do I think I am? You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, why am I here? I can't believe I tried to like do this. Like all these people have so much going for them. Oh, they're so put together. And then I have to tell myself like, you're like getting really uncomfortable within yourself. It's going to start coming out. So again, I have to like put my shoulders back, like give some air to my armpits.
Yeah.
Like, right. Like get a little loose, put your chin up and start walking confidently. And then things will shift.
Yeah. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a good perspective.
I do. Yeah. For me, it's all comparison. I feel like we talk about that a lot. It's all comparison, and it's easy to see yourself as not worthy or capable of playing a certain role because we see those behind the scenes things that we do, like putting our hair on the shower wall.
It's going to be a thing, you guys. I actually want to hear from viewers.
Yeah. Do you put your hair on the shower wall? Are you in a same spot shower wall, or are you an all over? Are you a flicker where you only want it to fall off the hands into the ground?
Do you have to declog your shower drain?
Yeah.
Like
Kinda
where does it go?
How often? Once a week? Once a month? What?
Do you clean it up, or does your significant other? Or your mom?
Do you have a catcher? If so, where can I get one? I feel like we spent too long on that.
Okay.
It's relevant to the conversation.
All those behind the scene things that which I love that we have this authenticity coming out more and more in social media now, so we can see all those behind the scenes things that other people are doing, and like, oh, they're doing XYZ. I couldn't do that because I do these silly things when I'm at home and no one's watching. But now we can see that they do that too. So I'm not as weird as I think I am. They are where I want to be, and they do that too. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I can actually be there too.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that it's comparison, and I love that we can have more authenticity now, and we can see all the things that I just said, and I'm feeling I'm repeating myself now, but
no, it's good.
okay.
I think it's cool that we've also given others this space to kind of learn about maybe they don't know what imposter syndrome is, but they've felt it. They didn't know how to describe it, or also give the space to open up and be unmasked and tell people like, we feel this is what we're doing to work through it, because we're still not through it. I don't know if I will ever be through it, because
I don't know if anybody ever will.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone will ever will, because if you're at that point where you're growing and you're always evolving and you're always wanting to grow kind of where we are, we're always going to have higher goals to set. And I know that I'm never going to reach my goal because I'm never going to stop. Like, I'm just going to keep going, because that's, again, the Lord, he's going to take me as far as I'm willing to go. So it's like, now that imposter syndrome probably is going to be one of the biggest things that the enemy or the adversary will use against me. So I just got to be aware of that instead of leaning into, why am I here when I, have this and this going on? I shouldn't be in this situation. Like, I can't get through this. Instead, revert it to, I'm here. I can't wait to see how the Lord's going to get me through this, because there's no reason I would be here if he's not going to get me through it, So I think it's really cool just to tie in then that, like, that's what we're doing here for you guys. Like, anyone watching, like, literally that's why we're doing this, is to allow that space to open up these imposter syndromes, these lies that we hear and share, so then everyone knows, like, we're not alone. So comment in the comments if you feel any push to, like, kind of how you felt imposter syndrome too, but you guys don't have to share, but if you want to share, we love to hear. So,
and I definitely feel like, oh shoot, where did it go?
Oh, come on,
Brain.
come back.
Oh no. Talk about you.
So I would say another way I kind of like I've handled the imposter syndrome is just with the affirmations again. I have a very strong structure because I'm a very strong structure organized person. If it's not that way, I have a hard time being consistent with it, but I'm also a very consistent person, so it all ties together that way. So I do the same thing every single morning, and I've told you guys this before, but any new listeners, I write 3 affirmations about myself. I look up a scripture message for the day. I ask myself one more question. I ask myself, or I point out a gift I have in my life for that day and a reason why. So I know that's a lot. I'll tell it because this is if anyone wants to practice any of these. So affirmations, 3 affirmations about myself, scripture message, one more question you ask yourself. So again, this is for someone that'd be good for someone who has a running mind, because then it gives you something to focus in on, like, okay, I'm thinking about all this now. How do I see God right now? Or something like that. One more gift and one more reason why. One more gift for that day and one more reason why. And so I do this and then I write them out. I also record them because oh gosh, you're so good at the scripture message. The tongue speaks the truths. I can't think of the actual.
There's power of life and death in the tongue.
There's power of life and death in the tongue. And so that's also why I also read them out. But that's helped me with imposter syndrome because it just reinforces the truths, like the scripture message. Scripture is truth. Affirmations. I'm then telling myself, no, I am powerful. Maybe I don't feel powerful, but I'm saying I'm powerful. So that'll revert that mind, just like kind of the sitting up back and forth, because you're saying it and you're claiming it as well. But then like the question, that one helps with imposter syndrome because it gives myself a focal point of a good question to think. Because if you aren't having answers or having things answered in your life and you feel all over the place, it's because you're not asking good questions. You got to ask a good question to get a good answer. So that's where I was. Instead of asking myself, like, why aren't the dishes done? Why is my bed not made? Like, why haven't the dogs been let out yet? Instead, I asked myself, okay, how can I see God in this moment? Well, that's going to shift that whole situation in just that moment of that question. So that's why that one's so important. But then the gift, like, that one helps with imposter syndrome because it right away gives you something to be thankful for. As if you're thankful, you can't feel like an imposter because you're thankful for that point in your life and where you're at, And so then the reason why, again, we're all in this world for a purpose. So having the imposter syndrome pretty much says we don't know why we've been to this place, but so we don't feel like we're made to be here, but that's not true because we're all here for a reason. So what is your reason why? Let's remind ourselves. So then we know we're not an imposter. We have a reason to be here. So that's what I do. It's very structured. It's been a long process, but it's been one that's helped me so much. And again, it's something, maybe I don't wake up and I want to go sit there for 30 minutes and do it, or sit there for 20 minutes, however long it takes me that day. Because, every day is different. But I mean, I make myself do it because I know that if I don't fix internal, the outternal won't be fixed. So I have to internally look at that imposter syndrome, fix it inside so then I can give out,
Mm-hmm. I love that you touched on gratitude because as you were saying that, it really made me think of one of the best things you can do. I'm speaking to myself to combat that feeling like, oh, I'm out of my league, whatever, is to build a foundation of gratitude. So if you're in a situation, if you're in a position, whatever, that you think, maybe I'm not qualified for this, maybe somebody else would be better, whatever it might be, I think if you can start building a foundation of gratitude and being like, you know what, I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful that someone else thinks that I'm worthy of being here. I'm really grateful that the Lord would open the door for me to be here. I'm really grateful. Like, just start giving some gratitude and laying that foundation. And then the more you have that to be kind of solid beneath where you are, then it doesn't feel so much like this shaky thing, the bottom is going to fall out and everybody's going to know that I'm not worthy. No, you've built a foundation now and there's nothing to fall down and like bust through. And so I guess just as you were talking, this is what was coming to me. And I really think that building that foundation of gratitude and thankfulness is so important because it stops putting the focus on me and what I think I can or can't do, what I think I am or am not worthy of. And you just put all of those doubt thoughts aside and you get grateful.
You receive.
Right.
Instead of.
And you can't be grateful without realizing that you have it. Right. And it's an interesting shift, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And it really changes, like, it changes how your day goes. It changes how your morning goes. So, oh my gosh, Zachary might kill me, but I'm going to share an example. I'm not going to go too many details, but so like the other morning, for example, it's like with this imposter syndrome, like we both did our own things that night. Whatever, long story short, we came home, we had a little argument before bed. So we were scuffing it out, and I was just so tired. It's like we go to bed angry. I hate going to bed angry. Just like always, it gnaws at me. And so I woke up that morning already just kind of like, oh gosh, we fought that night before. Like, I just don't even want to get out of bed today. Like I've talked to you guys how like, some days it's just hard to get out of bed. Like that it's hard. So I have to mentally prep myself like right when I wake up in the morning. And so it was just so cool because he woke up too. We ended up waking up at the same time. We never wake up at the same time usually. It's like usually we're always coming and going. We don't see each other until like we make the time to see each other in the evenings or something. But anyways, this all goes back to that imposter syndrome because we could wake up and feel like not worthy of being there, or being worthy of getting up and waking up next to that significant other we just fought, or like getting up and waking up to go to work. You just feel like crap when you wake up the night before or after something like that. But instead, we chose to wake up at the same time. First of all, we chose to get up and get out of bed. Second of all, but then you even break it down to the little things. Like he chose to, instead of get out of bed and like kind of grumbly, get out of bed and walk away, he turned over and he gave me a good morning kiss. And it's like that right there changed my mood in that little second. Because then I turn over and I was like, okay, I'll pray. Like I can pray and then that'll get me to get out of bed. So I like just thanked the Lord for the day, thanked him that, we had this day to change stuff around, and it just totally changed everything. Because I turned on some motivational music. Like imagine how quick that could have been shifted if like you wake up and you allow yourself to fall into that hole of like, oh, I'm not worried, that everyone knows what that feeling, especially after arguments and stuff, especially with people we love. So right there with that imposter syndrome, like you can choose to feel like you're not worthy of that life you were given that day, or you can choose to instead, how can I start this right? Even if I don't want to. I didn't want to turn on the motivation music. I didn't really want to pray. The Lord knows that. But I did because I have to thank him for the day he gave me. He's choosing to wake me up. And so there's something I'm meant to do and value to do that day. So after you think of it that way, and it's just you think of the Lord over your life, I feel like it just takes away the imposter syndrome. But you have to remind yourself over and over and over and over again. Because I guarantee I leave here and I something happens and I start to doubt myself, And so for me, at least, and anyone that maybe thinks like me, it's just that constant reminder of the thankfulness, the gratitude, I think really changes that imposter syndrome. So, yeah.
It's a step of faith a lot of the time, because you may not know what you're doing. You may not know what you're doing, but you know that the Lord has, he has a plan for you and you are where you are. And sometimes it's just a step of faith. And so I remembered what I was going to say earlier.
Yay!
And it's like, we learn by doing. And so, and how many people are actually doing the things?
How many
people are actually I'm glad that hit.
But it's so true
because people are actually doing the things. And it's the people who are doing the things that are learning. They're taking the step of faith. They're taking action. They may not know what they're doing. Actually, most people aren't. I mean, I wouldn't say any of us actually know what we're doing, but because you learn by doing.
Yeah.
And so that's just like a little encouragement because you see people doing something. They're like, oh, they are qualified. They know what they're doing. They probably don't, or they might now, but they didn't start out knowing what they were doing.
Right.
That's so important. I'm so glad you pointed that out because I'm like just thinking like whenever I think of you look at people, automatically my brain like thinks of a group of people and I'm like, okay, if I'm looking at a group of 20 people right now, how many of them actually know what they're doing in every single point of their life, And then I think about that and I'm like, probably 1 in 10, 2 in 20, maybe 0. So that really, I feel like that's just really, I'm glad you pointed that out. That there's probably more people even going through the imposter syndrome than we even can comprehend.
So don't think that you have to have all the answers before you start doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or called to do.
Think you're like, if you don't think you're qualified for something, like let's put that at the bottom of your list of reasons why not to do it. Because there are so many people who are who are qualified and aren't doing it. And, and that's where the God gets the glory too, is whenever you do something that you don't feel like you're qualified to do. And I think that's super important. So we don't boast in ourselves. And so that's another little side note.
No, it's really good. Here's true confessions. So we've talked about how each of us have our own Mary Kay businesses. I'm someone who definitely feels imposter syndrome within Mary Kay, which is a funny thing because it's very much it's a voluntary thing, right? Like I've decided to start a Mary Kay business. I have put myself in that situation. I get to dictate how it goes. But I also, you know what? I'm not the best at doing skincare every day and every night. And I'm not. And so it's hard for me to go and then think that I'm qualified to tell anyone else how to wash their face or how to do these things that I know are right, but I maybe am not doing. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you guys are perfect in that, but I'm just not the perfect person in that.
I think you're just proving our point here. I'm not perfect in it. Of course, I go to these parties and teach people how you should wash your face every morning and every night. But I also am transparent and being like, not saying that I do. Like I'll even throw that in every once in a while. It's like, I know things happen. Like if it's part of the conversation, like I'm like, I know I say that, but because people, they're like, oh my goodness, like there's no way I could do this every day and every night. And I'm like, girl, same.
And girl, me too.
Girl, me too. Like, yeah, we have these suggestions, like things that will help. But is that actually realistic that you're going to do them every morning and every night? No.
Right.
I think it's interesting what we think disqualifies us, qualifies us. Because like we think, for example, you're saying like, okay, if I don't wash my skin every single morning night, you may feel like imposter syndrome for being a beauty consultant because you're telling people to wash their face every single night or day and night, but then it's like maybe you don't all the time, but it's because you're human. So you know that this is the case, but yet you still strive to, still give the best recommendations, even though you have fault in it. So but it qualifies you because you know that you have that fault. So others are going to have that fault, Isn't that interesting perspective? Like literally what disqualifies us usually is what's going to qualify us. Like,
I think that's true. And
makes us relatable.
Yeah.
I think this is where that voice of the adversary will come in and will say, well, you're not doing it. So if you want to do this, you better not tell anybody that because then they'll know you're not qualified and you'll never go anywhere. So you need to put on this face. You need to put on this mask and show that you practice what you preach. When in reality, the thing that actually makes the connection, the thing that actually shows authenticity and that you are qualified is that, no, you're not perfect too, but you're still doing it. You're still making forward progress.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like he wants us to not connect.
Right.
He wants that mask there because he knows that if you are relatable, if you are real and you make that connection, that's when real change happens and real things, move forward and good things happen.
Right. Yeah, for sure. The only thing I can think of is like, again, the lion just keeps coming to my head. So like the symbolism of a lion has been coming to me a lot lately, but it's just with the same thing with the imposter syndrome and how you can overcome it. It's like all the qualities of a lion. And so the lion, their qualities are bravery and like fearlessness against any situation they're a part of. Competency. Did you guys know that lions sleep 20 hours a day, but they never go hungry? Yeah. Lions sleep 20 hours a day, but they don't go hungry. And so it's like, it makes me like, honestly, it makes me feel a little better when I take naps every once in a while because I need that because I run and I've explained this to like Lauren. I don't know if I explained it to you, but like, I know how I work. I sprint fast and I gotta, slow down, sprint fast, slow down, sprint fast, slow down. So sometimes I just need a little 45-minute nap to recharge so then I can get back up and sprint through the rest of my day. But then that's when the imposter syndrome comes in and I'm like, you haven't gotten done what you need to get done. Why do you think you should take a nap? Why do you think you need a break? You know, that's what hits me hard, because that's when I exhaust myself, because I'll exhaust myself mentally thinking about that, thinking if I should take a nap, and then finally allowing myself to. And then it's like, but I waste so much more energy fighting back and forth with the adversary in my own head about this imposter syndrome. And really, if you think about it, lions sleep 20 hours a day and they don't go hungry. So if a lion can do it, I can do it too. I can take a little bit of a nap, you know? But so that's one way, is just like understanding that you do need rest too, like to be able to do what you need to do. So I fight that imposter syndrome is just like rest too, like needing the rest. Definitely qualify myself as a workaholic. Like, and so that's another way, is just practicing rest. That's another way to get over some imposter syndrome. I know I've done that. Something I'm practicing. I was trying to think of some of the other ones. Do you have anything on that while I was thinking about the other qualities? Either of you? I know they said bravery, competency. Protective. You guys would probably know this, because I think of you. Have you guys seen Role Models? It's like it's an older movie that we have on DVD, but they're like, the mom comes out, and it reminded me of both of you. She comes out and like something happened to the kid, and she's like, I am a lioness and I will protect my cub. And I was like, that is me, Kim and Lauren. Like, I don't have kids, but I qualify. I use myself. I do talk to myself as if I am a lion, because I'm like, I want those qualities. But anyways, what they were saying with that is that they're protective of like themselves, their families, like all these things we know, but they're also protective of themselves, their own mind, their emotional, mental, physical. They protect themselves. They're not the biggest, strongest, fastest, or they are the biggest, strongest, fastest animal in the jungle, but that's not what qualifies them to be the king of the jungle. What qualifies them is their mentality, but they're always working to have all of those at their best, because they know they need that rest, so they can sprint, get done what they need to get done, and get home. And so all of those things, it's just like, it comes back to this imposter syndrome. Like, to get over it, it's just almost taking on the qualities of a lion, like grit, consistency, competency, to get up, get done what you need to get done, get home, or, do what you need to be done, instead of procrastinating or whatever. So yeah, that's just some of the ways I would say, maybe practicing some of those types of affirmations. I am brave, I am competent, like stuff like that could definitely help with the imposter syndrome. What do you guys have? Did I blow your minds? I've only this is like the last couple days I've learned about I've learned about these lions, because the Lord put it on my heart. So that's why I thought that was funny. And in Zookeeper, they point that out. So I thought that was funny. They do talk about Zookeeper.
I guess my biggest tip is really just knowing that we really are all on the same level. Like, really, no one is better or worse. Some people just go and do it, whether they feel qualified or not. So just knowing that the person who's doing it is not better than you. We all hold innate value and worth. We all come from the same creator, and anything they are capable of, you're capable of. Just do it. Sorry. Okay. That is a meme that I just go and do all the time. It's Shia LaBeouf. And he just goes, just do it. It's the best thing in the world if you haven't seen it. Like, I have it.
It goes with everything.
It goes with everything. I use it all the time.
I love it. I think this is a very real issue. And I think more of us deal with it than we realize. Again, it can be really isolating. We think we're the only ones who put the hair on the shower wall. Right? And so that disqualifies us as a normal human being, as someone to be taken seriously, whatever it might be. But I think maybe my best advice is to, do whatever you can to find some confidence and start believing that maybe you're there for a reason. And maybe you're not as weird or as unlike other people as you might have once believed.
And I like your advice to like reminder to sit back and sit straight up too when you need those reminders. Because I know I am an introvert as well. I'm finding out I'm more of an introvert than I realized, because I'm learning now different tips of what introverts do when they are out in public or in crowds.
Out in the wild.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's how I feel sometimes when I walk out of my house.
Yes.
Like sometimes I have that much anxiety. I walk out and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I'm like, go into the jungle. But like even just reminding yourself, like sometimes if you're just sitting there and I'm like, okay, how am I sitting? Maybe I should. And then eventually like I'll feel a little better because if your chest is up, your shoulders are back, like that's a confident position. So you're going to feel confident.
It is.
I really liked that. That advice you gave us too.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Also, other people will think you're confident.
Exactly.
I'll just tell you.
Exactly.
I was telling somebody about this before, and it was after one of those events, like immediately after, and I was like, man, was I uncomfortable. Like, I like have to overcome it. Like, I have to physically do something to overcome it. And they're like, everyone thinks you're so confident and like you have it all together. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's because I have to put my shoulders back and because I feel so out of place. And so I think it's an interesting thing, and it can be a powerful thing.
No, yeah. And it's not the first time I've heard that type of like physical action reverting the mental state. Because there was a book I was just reading. I think it was the Mary Kay book, the marketing book, the one that is like super popular. I can't think of. Anyways, it's a really good one. But they talk about, she talks about how she was introducing the speaker one time at this motivational event, yada, yada. And she looked over as she was like announcing him, and he's like beating his chest and like jumping up and down. And it was because he was getting himself excited. He's like, Mary Kay, I'm a motivational speaker. But he was like, I had a flight delay. I had all this happen. Like I just got here. And he was like, I'm a motivational speaker, but I don't feel motivated right now. And he's like, and they expect motivation. You expect motivation. So I got to give motivation. And I felt that really, I was like, whoa, that reminded me of the chest thing. So it's like, some days most days I don't feel like doing what I have to do. But then we look at it and it's like, okay, do what you got to do physically to get yourself mentally, whether that's changing your shirt, putting on a shirt, whether that's sitting in in a spot. But yeah, I think it's very common for your physical state to affect your mental state and almost revert it completely.
It's true. I think the hope is though, I'll say this. I think the hope is that I'll get to a point, or you'll get to a point, that you don't have to do those coping things.
Yeah.
That you get to a point where you realize that, no, I deserve to be here. No, I am worthy of being in this space. No, I do hold this value. You know what I mean? Where you don't have to do those things to convince yourself, that you just get to the point where you know. I wouldn't even say you're convinced. Now you know.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the goal. I would say I'm not there. I'm working on it. There's still things like, I mean, I'm just telling you, like the wash your face thing. Like, how do I go tell people to wash their face when I'm not? I didn't wash my face last night. Guess what? I didn't wash my face last night. But here I am trying to tell you, go wash your face. It is the best for you. Drink some water. Guess what I'm drinking? Coffee. Hydrate. It is summertime.
Yep.
Don't drink caffeine. That will just dehydrate you.
Oh, that's so good. But
oh my goodness.
I'll get there. We'll get there.
I love it. See, even the big motivational speaker, like he was in front of hundreds of people, and people probably think he's like that all the time. And he's not. So I find that very encouraging.
Right. It is encouraging. Yeah.
See, just knowing that even people who are at the top
or have it together.
No one's got anything together.
Anyway, because I think we cracked the code of imposter syndrome today.
I think
I feel like we cracked
the code.
Like literally, it's just understanding that, okay, I'm going to have these feelings. Now finding the tools to work through them and just continuing that every day, every single time it happens, just continuing those practices. And if it's not working, try something new. Like just literally until you find your thing of what helps you battle the imposter syndrome and get on God's side. Like that, finding that is the cheat code to then getting to the point where that's who you are.
So is nobody really an imposter, or is everybody an imposter?
Oh,
yes.
That's a good
nobody or everybody.
My answer is yes.
Yes. Yes.
I know.
That's the
No,
question.
I would say nobody.
Nobody.
I think nobody is. Unless you're actually legit trying to be someone else. I mean, here's top secret pro tip. You're not an imposter unless you make yourself one.
Boom.
You are who you are, and you're made to be that way. So maybe get comfortable with who you are. Right?
Yeah.
Don't make yourself an imposter. And if you find yourself doing it, find a way to put your shoulders back and be you, and know that you can occupy this space and you're valuable, and other people do need you, and this world needs you, and there's value that you bring.
Said perfect. I'm speechless.
Oh,
Literally, I'm just like,
Yes. Just yes.
Yep.
it's good.
Well, thank you guys for being on with us. Make sure you like, subscribe, tag your friends, send the link out to your friends, anyone that you think wants to hear maybe about imposter syndrome or hear more about what the show is, and just spread the word. That's how we're gonna get this out, is spreading the word, honestly. So through socials, through all that, but we just appreciate all your support. Like, comment, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Keep up with us on this unmasking journey by joining us every Friday.
Like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. This episode is sponsored by Podcast Solutions and podcasttables.shop.
As always, we're glad you're here. See you next week.
Boom, done.